Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final Take Charge Tuesday. That's not on a Tuesday, it's Thursday. But we have Ms. Bri MaHarrey back by popular request and demand to follow up on the session she did in September. And that session was on resistance training for women, and she talked about osteoporosis and how resistance training is very beneficial. And so mainly in that session, it was, she was sharing a lot of insight and facts with us and things like that. And so the audience, all of you, requested that we have some demonstration exercises. And so she has so kindly agreed to come back and do that for us today. So we are actually here in the SRC or Rec Center, and great space for Bri to demonstrate. So the majority of you are online though, so of course we wanted to still have our virtual connection. Go ahead and put RFW in the chat, but feel free to follow along with what Bri, I'm sorry, I gave you a new name.
I'll take whatever.
With what Bri will be demonstrating today, because they are exercises that I'm assuming they can do with their desks or whatever. So feel free to take part in that, even though you're online, you're virtual, so do that. And hopefully everything, you can see her well and you'll be able to see the exercises. If by chance there were some audio issues or whatever, we have that from another session, but we didn't know about it till like after it was over. Go ahead and indicate that in the chat so that we can, Ashley has her phone over to the side and she'll be watching that so that we can make adjustments if we need to. All right, this is just a 30-minute session, so I don't want to take up any more time. I want to turn it over to Bri. Thank you, Bri, for being here.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being here. Thanks for having me back. This is the part of my job. I love talking about fitness, but I really love getting to show people that it's accessible to everybody. So we talked about strength training as far as its impact on osteoporosis, but really just aging in general. And so a few things that I think we ended that session on, if I remember correctly, we kind of touched on the fact that strength training doesn't always have to be with weights. Body weight can suffice. And so what I like to do, even if I get people in through the gym that have been working out for a long time or done classes, I kind of start everybody back at square one, because I need to know maybe what's bothering them, what issues they have when they move. And so this is kind of like if you were to walk into the gym where I work and do personal training, this is where we would start. So I felt like it was a good jumping off point. If you guys have questions, please put those in the chat box and we'll get to those. I'll happily get to those. So one thing I will do today is we're going to do a short little activation, because if you are going to follow along, I want you to be a little bit warmed up. So we're going to take those arms out, and I like to just say wiggle your fingertips, because a lot of times we are just so tight and tense. We're like pulled in right here. So I just like to say, extend those arms like somebody's pulling you at both sides, wiggle those fingertips. And let's start to take big, slow arm circles forward. Okay, nothing too crazy. Going slow. I want you to just think about as you begin to move, does that hurt? Do you have pain in your shoulders? Do you have pain in your back? Okay, this is a great time to take stock and assessment of what is bothering you. It's hard to do corrective exercise if we don't even know what's bothering us, okay? Good. So now we're going to take that circle backwards. Continue to kind of wiggle those fingers just so you don't get tight. Good. And then also think about just big deep breath. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Okay. Good. We're going to do one more. Excellent job. Now I want you to just lift those hands shoulder height, okay? Feet are right under your hips, and we're just going to cross those arms, open it up, squeeze the shoulder blades, and cross. Big deep breath. You'll start to feel those muscles kind of warm up. Good. 3, 2, and 1. Excellent job. Take those arms up to a Y, and we're going to bring it down to a W. Slide those elbows right behind your back right there, and then all the way up. Slide them down into that W, give it a squeeze, and up. Now you can also here, just make sure that your toes are loose and they're not squeezing the inside of your shoes. Okay, toes are nice and loose, and you can also squeeze your behind here, okay? Start to warm everything up. Good. We're gonna do 2 more of these. Excellent job. You're probably already feeling those arms. Good. Drop those arms, shake them out. All right, take those shoulders, and I just want you to round them out. Okay, slide your fingertips down the front of your thigh, and then stand all the way up nice and tall. Pull those shoulders back. Big deep breath. Excellent. All right, give those shoulders a shake. Now we're gonna warm up the bottom half of that body a little bit. So your feet are right under your hips. Again, think about lifting your big toes inside of your shoes to keep you from gripping, okay? Tiny bend in your knees always. Fingertips up behind those ears. I'm gonna turn to the side just so you can see, all right? And I just want you to hinge over and stick your behind back like you're gonna close the door behind you, and then come all the way up, okay? So this is a hinge, all the way over and all the way up. Another good way to see if you're getting a true hinge is to put 2 fingers on the front of those hip bones, and as you hinge over right here, your belly may lay on top of those fingers. That's okay, that's what we want it to do. All right. Good, and over. You're gonna feel that stretch come up the back of the legs. We're gonna do 1 more, hinge it over. And then all the way up. Great job. Big deep breath, shake it out. All right, we're gonna do a short upper body series and a short lower body series. So again, I'm treating this as you're new to strength training, or you're just resetting. If you were to walk into my gym, we're starting from square one, okay? So I'm always gonna do a couple of weeks of just body weight. So I want you to take those arms out, spread them out like somebody's pulling you at both ends. All right, and I just want you to circle those arms, okay? Everything I show you today is gonna be without weight, okay? You don't really wanna load it. You don't wanna load the movement until you know how your body's gonna react, okay? Where you have pain, where you have weakness. Good, make sure those shoulders don't creep up. You should already be feeling your shoulders right here at the top of those arms. Good. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now you're just going to flip those palms up and down. Excellent job. My goal today is just to show you, you can get a good workout with just body weight. Obviously, when you load the movement, you get a little bit more from it. But you have to know where you're starting from. Good. Palms down, palms up. Give me 4 more. 3, 2, 1. Now I want you to bring those arms up to goalpost. And then we're just going to slide them across that imaginary table right there. Keep them nice and high. And then open them up. Good. Squeeze. You're pushing those elbows as close together as you can get them. They may not touch, and that is okay. Excellent job. Good. We're going to do 4 more, and then you're going to hold them up. I know, it's burning. 3, 2, and 1. Now you're going to take them back to the goal post, arms, turn your palms towards me, and then lift up, meet those thumbs in the middle, and back down. Good. Up and back down. I want you to pull those arms down with intention. Make sure, again, that your toes are loose. Okay, they're not gripping the inside of your shoes. And your belly button is pulled in towards that spine. Think about zipping up a pair of pants. Excellent. 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Drop those arms. Give it a shake. You're going to feel that in those shoulders. All right. Now I'm going to turn to the side. We're going to do a little row right here. So I'm going to turn my palms in towards each other. My feet are right under my hips. Slight bend in the knees, and I've got my behind pushed back. I'm just going to slide my elbows up and down. Okay, my arms are as close to my body as I can possibly get them. Excellent job. We're going to do 4 more. Think about squeezing in towards your midline. 2 more. 1 and 2. Good. Shake it out right here. Big deep breath. Okay. So if you're thinking about progression of strength training, I'm always going to start people out body weight. I think it is the best possible way to assess what your current situation is, where your pain is, where your weakness is, and what you really need to work on building. All right. So from there, the next, if we're talking about programming and how to set it up, from there, I would typically add 3 to 5 pound weights. Okay. Especially women, a lot of us are weaker up top anyways. So a lot of them, I'm typically going to start, I say 5 pounds, typically 3 is where I'm going to start somebody. And then from there, we can build. But just don't get in your head that strength training has to be super heavy, super fast. Okay, that's a really good way to get hurt. And then, not only do you lose the benefit of strength training, but then you're also a little bit afraid to approach it in the future is what I find a lot of times. So from there, once I add weight to those movements, I'm typically going to take it unilateral. So, if I'm at this move, I'm going to move one arm in at a time, okay, just to make sure that one side's not doing more work than the other. Once we do a few workouts where we're doing unilateral type work, then we'll do where we put everything together and everything's moving at the same time, okay? So again, just thinking about how to program it, there is a method to the madness, and to me, you can't go too slow. You can't go too slow because we want this to be a forever thing. We want you to work out. This is not a one-shot deal. We want you to work your way into it, feel confident, feel comfortable, and grow in strength and confidence. And you can't do that if you come in too hot with it and then get injured and scared, okay? So that's an upper body, a small snippet of an upper body, and also how we would progress it, okay? So we're gonna move to we're gonna try to get lower body and core in. We'll see. All right, lower body. So I'm only gonna work with our main movements today. If you can do these main movements well, and you can get your body composition correct, you can do any move past that, okay? So again, if you walk into the gym and I'm gonna personal train you, we're starting with body weight, all right? I don't know what your aches and pains are. I don't know how to figure that out unless we move without the weight, okay? So we're gonna go into a squat. Now, I will say there's a lot of research out there. I'm not opposed to knees over toes, okay? There's a lot of research, there's a lot of debate about, your knees shouldn't go over your toes, all that stuff. For the area that I work in, when you're talking about osteoporosis, aging. I work with a lot of folks who have neurological issues. We are typically, especially with knee pain, we're trying to strengthen your core and the back of your body to take some of the load off your knees. So the way I teach it, we are backloading the movement more so than if you're in an athletic type strength training situation, if that makes sense, okay? So I'm not opposed to knees over toes, but for today, this is how we're working it, okay? So I want you to stand in front of your chair or wherever you are. And I like for the back of my leg to touch the chair. It tells you everything you need to know about your form. All right, so you're gonna lift your big toes inside your shoes. I would just leave your arms down by your side. And I want you to push your weight, okay, mid-foot to heel on both feet even. And I want you to sit back over that chair like you're gonna sit down, but then you change your mind, okay? And stand all the way up. So you have to get right here at this little diagonal line. So the top of my head to the bottom of my behind is a diagonal line. You wanna make sure that your belly button's pulled in. You don't wanna be here, and you don't wanna be overarched either. Neutral spine, all right? So down and up. A lot of times what I would see people do is this, okay? Well, if you are weak in your knees or just in general, how's that gonna feel on your kneecaps, right? It's gonna hurt. And so a lot of people I get in the gym are terrified. They're terrified to do a squat, even though how many times a day do we have to get in and out of our car, up and down from our chair, off the couch? We do it all day, every day. But they still come in terrified because it hurts. So this will tell you if the back of your leg is touching the chair and the chair slides out, okay, then you're not in that neutral spine, okay? So you don't want to be here, all right? You want to think about that nice diagonal line. You're connected to your chair, but you're literally just pushing your booty back and up, okay? Back and up. Now, when you get to the end range of your motion, right here, push through your heels a little bit more, and you'll kind of feel the back of that booty open up, and then all the way up, okay? So this is where we would start with a squat progression. So we would stay here for a certain period of time. We would make sure you don't have pain in your knees or your back. If you have pain in your low back here, sometimes we can kind of fix your form a little bit. Sometimes it's a function of needing to work on all the core strength, and you just have a little bit of back pain until we can get it under control. But we would stay here for X amount of time. It's different for everybody. Then we would move on to coming all the way down and coming all the way up, okay? And after we master that, then we would load the movement, okay? So typically for lower body can handle more weight. But when you load the movement, it feels different, okay? You need a different level of effort. So I would usually start with 5 pounds in each hand. And then if somebody blows past that, we can quickly kind of go up to that, 10 pound. But a lot of times I find, especially for somebody just trying to get into it, 5 pounds in each hand is just enough for some feedback, okay? So that's our squat. And then lunges. I don't have time to go through everything, but I'll just kind of, another good one that I like to do if I have to pare down, which I do because right now it's fun. I like to do the squats, okay, because that's an everyday motion. I also like to, if I'm going to pick just one or two, I like a side lunge, because most people, when they step to the side, a lot of people have pain. Number one, that's a big source of pain for people. Number two, especially as we age, our steps get smaller. And so we're not always picking our feet up, right? So for me, it works on a lot of functional stuff. And just to get out of your car, what do you have to do? You kind of have to do like a little side lunge, you know? So I try to do things that are functional. So stand with those feet right under the hips, and you're gonna step out to the side, but I encourage you to think about a curb, okay? Big step that way. When you step, you get some stabilization as well, a little step. And then when you get right here, you push your weight into the heel and you push your booty back, okay? Same motion as with the squat, and then you can come up, okay? So it doesn't have to be way out here. I'm not looking for that. We're looking for a functional amount of movement. So step, shift, and push back, okay? Up, shift, and center, okay? Part of this is learning how to even shift your weight correctly. It's just one of those things we feel like we know what it means to shift our weight. But when you're doing it in this setting and it's so controlled, you feel and you notice everything. So you would do this on both sides. And again, the reason for that big step is you're going to get your balance and your stabilization in with your work, okay? So that's a squat and a side lunge. Man, I wish I have so much, you know. All right, so let's talk about core, an isometric. Hopefully y'all can see me right here. Isometric for the core. And again, with that lunge, we would not load it. We would make sure that you were good. And then after a period of time, we would load it with weight, okay? So moving on to core, if I had to choose one thing for somebody to do, especially if you're going to do it at your desk, it would be isometric core work. Somebody said, and one of our therapists said last week in class, I did one of these moves, and she was like, I really think isometric work is some of the most underutilized work out there, which I think speaks volumes because it's easy. It doesn't require you to have anything other than you do have to kind of push yourself a little bit. So I want you to think about this. I'm going to show you two ways to do it. All right, so I'm mirror imaging you guys. So start on your right side, and you're going to take your left hand to the top of your thigh, not on top of your knee. You can put it on your knee and slide it back, but it needs to be on top of your thigh, not your kneecap, okay? And then you're just going to pop that right heel up, okay? And you're going to pretend like you're going to lift it off the ground. So you're pushing up right here, and your palm is pushing down. And I want you to feel what happens in your core. Okay, you should get that braced feeling, like if somebody was going to, come and pop you in the stomach, you should be able to brace, it'll brace your core, okay? Now, like I said, the biggest indicator of difficulty here is how hard you're willing to push. Are you willing to really push right here and lift right here? Okay, that's up to you. Good. And then you would do the other side. All right, and there's not much weight in this foot, so it's almost like I'm about to lift this foot off the floor, but I haven't. And you're pressing and you want to go cross body. Okay, so you're lifting and pushing, you're opposing. Good. And then progression of that would be to actually lift your right leg, push your left palm in, and smush the two together, okay? Pretend like there's a balloon right here, and you're pushing so hard and pushing so hard, you're trying to pop that balloon, okay? And then down, and then other side, all right? I don't really encourage people to move too quickly on actually lifting that leg off the floor because you do need some time to build up your strength. And if you don't, if you're not in good form right here, you'll just end up working those hip flexors and it won't get the core as much. So right here, just pop that heel up, pop that hand on, and press the two together, okay? Pull the belly button to the spine and release, okay? So I think we'll go ahead and wrap up in case somebody has questions, but Yeah, I just want you guys to feel comfortable. I know last time we talked about where do you add it in, how do you add it in. Even if you just do 1 day a week to start, and again, don't think that body weight is not sufficient. It's a great place to start. It's a great place to take stock of what is bothering you. Does your back bother you? Your shoulders? Sometimes, you know, when we're in a cardio class or we're moving so much all day long, we can't even really identify what hurts. We just kind of have a general feeling of everything hurts. But when you slow down and you really break the movement down before you load it, it gives you a great opportunity to just sit with it for a second and actually feel what is happening in your body. So,
Bri, can you speak to the burn and to our audience, and I guess talk about the purpose of that, and some people may, and I've heard these comments, especially with new people starting out with this, when they feel that burn of the muscles, then they don't like that, and then that makes them stop.
right. So that's another reason why when I start somebody on weights, I don't load the movement with weights, because if you haven't done that kind of work before, the burn, the heaviness you feel in your muscles, it takes a minute to get used to. And what I always tell people in classes when I teach is, don't be afraid of the burn, but at the same time, take stock of it. Is it a burn, like I'm working my muscle, or is there pain involved with it? Take a minute to actually decipher. The burn will not hurt you, but if you feel something else that doesn't feel good, then stop. And a lot of times when you're new at the movements too, we're going to keep the sets pretty short, because I don't, you know, there is a big thing in fitness, like no pain, no gain. If you know, and I think there's a place for that at times, but really and truly, if we want people to get involved in fitness, we need them to not be fearful of the movements. We need them to not be fearful that it's going to hurt. Or we need them to not be fearful that they're not going to be able to walk for 3 days afterwards. That's never the goal. I would rather somebody come in for a session, feel the movement, be minimally sore the next day, and feel good about it, rather than somebody be tanked for 3 or 4 days because they did the workout and went too far too fast. That does not create lifelong movers. It does not create confidence within using weights. And it just mentally, it makes people feel weak, and that's not the goal. You know, that's not ever our goal.
Yeah, so. And that soreness goes away after the muscles get used to it.
It goes away.
It's not like every single time you work out, you're going to be sore. That's not the case.
Yeah, it goes away. And also that myth that soreness equals a good workout. If you walk away from a workout and you're not so sore that you're dead on the floor the next day, that doesn't mean it wasn't a good workout. It just means that you worked within the boundaries of what your body is currently capable of. And so every once in a while, it's good to get sore, but ideally your goal is not to be sore every single time. Soreness doesn't equal quality. Just keep that in mind as you get going.
Very good, very good. Well, thank you so much. That was great. And you said you would provide.
Yeah, I can, if you guys want, I can provide a list of what we went over and send that to Jackie.
So we will put that out on the website for you all, so you can have that as a reference as you're doing that on your own. So thank you again for attending. Thank you, Bri, for being here. This concludes our session for today, and Ashley's pushed out an evaluation deal, so y'all can give us some feedback. And this also concludes our Take Charge Tuesday sessions for this semester. So we will start again in January. Be on the lookout for that schedule. So everyone have a great Thanksgiving and a great rest of the week. Thanks. Bye-bye.